So take me down the road that's a little bit windy, to a place they still put sugar in their iced tea, where the women are fine and the love is fair. Yeah, driver, you can drop me off anywhere. Hey driver, pull on over. I'm in a fight with God. This Carolina's shoulder seems the place I'm getting on.
Hi Jamie, how are you?
Hi Kate. I'm good.
I think it's kind of weird and ironic how Zach Brown sings a song about, hey driver, pull over. This
Zach
Carolina.
who?
Zach Bryan. I always mess it up
Lots of
every single
respect.
time.
I know. It's like, his name's too similar to like every other name because he has a first name,
Yeah.
first name and a last name.
Yeah, it needs like
It's like Zach Brown and then Luke Bryan, right? So then it's like
Yeah.
Zach Bryan. Yeah.
yeah,
I get
definitely. I
confused.
see the
Yeah.
Thank
It
you
took-
for saving me.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
truly my fault. I was confused.
It wasn't truly your fault at all. It was their fault for
Yeah.
naming him such a popular name already.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like it was apparently Zach Bryan's fault that... Actually, no, I'm going to take an opposite position. I'm going to say it's the cop's fault for arresting Zach Bryan. I don't even know what happened.
I think the cop did it for clout because I looked into it and like Zach Bryan like really didn't do anything wrong. Like I think the cop literally just wanted to be like, I arrested Zach Bryan. He was lippy, but I mean,
What do you have any idea what actually happened?
Okay,
like why he got
so-
pulled over?
yeah. Okay, so I've got my info from a really reliable source,
Who?
TikTok.
Okay.
A couple different videos, and apparently like a few days before he got arrested, he was driving in like a town in Oklahoma. I think.
Okay, wait, pause, because I saw a picture and it was saying that he was going to some football game or something and he has a dog in his truck.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, okay, so there's two separate like times that he's had a run-in with the police recently. So he was driving somewhere in Oklahoma, I think, and he was going like 4 or 5 over. He got pulled over. The officer was just basically like let him off with a warning. But when he got pulled over the first time, I think the officer was trying to be like, give me your address. And he was like, I'm not going to give you my address, dude. I'm a famous singer.
Yeah.
Like people, like
To
it's just
protect
kind
that.
it's kind of unsafe. Yada yada. And the police officer was like really insistent. He's like, dude, I'm not going to. And I think like the police officer ended up just like letting him go with a warning. But I read the comments and someone made a good point that like when you give your ID over, doesn't it have your address on it? Maybe it wasn't his current address. I don't know why the cop would want it. It seems a little fishy. Like, why would you need his address for speeding?
Something could have been expired on his ID, but
yeah.
it could have been, oh, this is Zach Bryan. I know it's this guy, but...
I get that, though. Like,
I don't know.
Someone
That's interesting.
who's famous, I wouldn't want to give my address out either.
It kind of sucks for famous people, obviously, because they don't ever release anything about what actually happened.
Yeah.
So then there's all this like speculation and tarnish on the situation. And then Zach Bryan releases some post saying... basically what I apologize.
I like how
to
he
law
got ahead of
enforcement.
it before someone else could create a narrative for him.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, like, I'm sorry. Because, like, honestly, like, we've all had something like that happen where, like, we wouldn't want, like, our coworkers to know, but, like, his coworkers or people that, like, he makes money off of are us. Mm-hmm. And it's, like, for some reason, people feel entitled to know famous people's lives and then judge them off of it when you wouldn't want to have your coworkers know like stuff that happens to you. Like you wouldn't be like, oh my god, I was really lippy with a police officer like this past Friday and I got arrested. Like you would not want anyone to know that.
No.
And then let alone like let them make their own like speculations and create a whole new, you know what I mean? It's kind of a weird thought, but
no, it's nobody wants anyone else to know their criminal proceedings or anything going on.
Like,
it's not exactly flattering to know that you're in trouble, for other people to know that you're in trouble.
Well, and they make their own like
assumptions
versions
on everything.
Versions of the story.
Yeah. I think it's funny though because if you take two sides of the coin, you have one side being like rap and hip hop artists, and if they had an altercation with the cops, they'd be like, fuck. Like if it were a similar thing where they got physical with the cops a little bit, they got arrested, they probably would have came out and said like, fuck the cops, they're pulling me over on some bullshit, whatever. And then Zach Bryan comes out and says, I apologize, I support the police, I was out of line basically, and I support that. I think that's the right way to
for two
attack it.
reasons, because I think it's like, I think when people have a following, and I think right now people are really like really like him, and they have nothing but good things to really say about him and everything. So people are kind of idolizing him right now. Like, he probably doesn't want his fans to, like, go after cops and be like, you know, fuck the cops, all this stuff. He's, like, basically saying, like, what I did, like, he's owning up to his own, which I like, but I think he gets it because, like, I think he comes from a family that was in the Navy military, and then him too. So it kind of just shows that he, at the end of the day, those are his roots. What?
Well, everybody in some situation can feel like, well,
cops are the most irritating. Like,
quit being up my ass about all this stuff. Just leave me alone. Ask me my questions. Do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And leave.
They're narcs, and honestly, I feel like
they're narcs.
Well, they are.
Well, they literally are.
They literally are.
Cops.
Like, I, thank goodness, haven't really done anything that bad, but you never want to have an interaction with cops. But every time I do, I'm like, you're really trying me right now.
Yeah. It's never just a, hey, what's going on?
I just want to of doing something that you haven't done.
Well, it quite literally is their job. Yeah. So it sucks that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But
I mean, obviously, like, I was raised to, like, respect cops, and I do, but they are so annoying.
I know,
sometimes.
but it's hard to put yourself in the mindset of where, yes, I'm in this situation, yes, this guy is quote unquote like getting pestering me for something and pestering me and asking me all these questions because, like, well, first off, you hate it because you probably are, like, you got stopped, so if you are doing something wrong, it's like a natural instinct to be like, defensive. Fuck them, why are they telling me that I'm doing something wrong? I pay these guys, like, everybody has that mindset. And going 4 or 5 over, I thought everyone knew you could go 4 or 5 over and not get pulled over. Right, and it's the most frustrating thing because it's pausing your day, it's delaying everything, it's going to cost you time and money.
I know.
But what you have to realize that they're just enforcers of, like, our own laws. Like, they don't actually have a dog in this fight. If they saw you going 10 over and they didn't pull you over, they're technically not doing their job.
Yeah.
Which they can get fired for. So it's like
no, I get it.
It's so hard to realize that, though.
But a lot of people think they're above the law, which I have felt that way too. Like, when I'm driving and speeding, I'm like, why can't I go 20 miles faster than I am right now? Because like, no one is out here. But
you're like, I know it's safe. I'm not going to hurt anybody, but the laws are in place.
But it's like, why? I'm so delusional that I'm like, yeah, I think I can make this law. Like, I can just go 20 over.
Oh yeah.
But I'm a pro speeder. I've never gotten caught.
Pro speeder.
Ever. Like,
knock on wood. You will be back on this podcast.
I'm checking mirrors.
Probably for speeding.
I'm checking mirrors. I'm looking ahead. I got the
eyes out.
Apple CarPlay. When you put a destination in the GPS, oftentimes it'll be like, speed check ahead.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if that's a feature. I wonder if that's a feature that Apple sort of provides now as like a pro user feature, or if it's like through the not through the government, but there's some sort of like collaboration where it's like, we don't really. I don't know. I don't know how to fully express this thought, but we don't really want to catch people for speeding. So like, why should you not, as a citizen, not be informed of if there is a speed check? Like, it does. It achieves the same thing. Which is you slowing down. Yeah. And so if you're getting notifications a mile ahead or 2 miles ahead that there's a speed check, and you slow down for a mile ahead, and then also when the cop's there, and a little bit after, you're increasing the distance that people are and the time that people are actually following the speed limit and increasing safety. So it makes more sense to put that thought in before rather than just a cop out trying to catch people and get people. So smart. It's kind of smart. I love it.
That's where I'm happy when they track our locations and stuff. I'm like, that's useful. I appreciate that.
I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all.
It's the silver lining.
Honestly, that I feel like if you're a girl is one thing that is very beneficial, because if you're walking at night, people in sketchy areas or whatever by yourself, or you're doing something by yourself, or shit, even a mall parking lot these days seems like it can be dangerous. So that's a great feature to have on your phone, the tracking, just so that other people know where you are, know that you're safe. It gets weird though when people start telling you where you are.
Thank you. Okay, so I will share my location. Like, if I have a couple decent conversations with you in my life, shared location, because my whole thing is if I go missing, maybe your ass has seen me. Maybe your ass has seen me travel, or like the last place that I was at.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. Like, look at my location for like whatever reason you want. The second you start to be like, why are you at Walmart right now? I'm gonna be like, really? Like if I didn't tell you.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
Like, I don't like that. Like, if I tell you I can't hang out, But really, it's just because I want to hang out with myself. You mind your own business
Yeah.
if you see me out and about by myself.
For real, yeah.
It's a little invasive, but I like it overall. Like, you know.
Speaking of invasive, let's get invasive here.
Oh,
Brianna Chicken Fry dates Zach Bryan. Can you tell people who Brianna Chicken Fry is? Because you'll do a way better job than I will.
I am a long time fan of Brianna Chicken Fry, and she started off on, well, I think she was on Vine for a little while, and the whole way that she got her name is because she was standing making a video and her legs looked really like they look like chicken fries, and that's how she got her name.
So she got a little famous from being kind of fun.
Just funny. And then she really, like, I think I started following her like 2020, because she was like a big party girl, so she was always like hungover, throwing up. She would get this like blue drink at what's it called, Dunkin'. And
wait, what's Dunkin'? Like
Dunkin'
Donuts? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think it's from Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, and I think it is. No, Blue Raz.
Damn, that red sparkler from
and
Scooters,
she was
though.
just freaking funny and real, and it was like refreshing at the time because it felt like, well, and even still now on social media, girls like only like show their best and they're all put together, and her hair is like all disheveled and like her eyes twitching and she's throwing up. Like, it's hilarious and it's relatable. And so yeah, she took off from that and she got a podcast on Barstool. It's called Plan Brie. It's a play off of her name, like Plan B.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And yeah, it's really good. I've been.
What is she talking about on there? Just
a
girl
lot of,
stuff,
like, current
college
events.
hangover.
Yeah, like she's kind of moved away from like the college lifestyle and stuff. She used to go on college tours with her best friend, Grace O'Malley, who's also super funny and was a childhood friend of hers. That's what I really like about her, is I do think she's authentic because she brought her childhood friend like with her. Like, Brianna was gaining all of this fame and stuff, and she was like, I'm bringing my best friend to the top with me, and that's Grace O'Malley, and she's Grace.
Do you think
O'Malley's
she brought
funny.
her best friend to the top, or do you think that she used Grace a little bit? Like, is Grace really charismatic and good at all of that stuff?
Yeah, Grace is so
well,
funny.
maybe she didn't use, maybe it was more of a collab. It's like, we might as well both rise to the top.
She basically was like, I'm a shining star, but so was my best friend, like, I'm bringing her with. So she would always have Grace on her podcast. Yeah. And then she basically told
Just
Dave,
sort of
she was like, give Grace a job here at Barstool, like, she's a part. So they do a podcast together, and then Dave, Josh Richards, and Bree have a podcast, BFFs, and they just talk about freaking TikTok drama, and it's so funny. It's so entertaining.
I love the whole Barstool setup because they also sort of they reach a lot of influencers outside too, and it makes them have like a wide web, because you're talking about how they have girls like Brianna Chicken Fry, who does podcasts, and then her friend, and all that, and then they also have they're friends with like Shane Gillis and all of those guys, that the podcasts that I listen to, Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, and then War Mode, Billy and Spud, this guy that are on there. They're friends with all of them, and they collab, and they'll have all of those guys. They'll go on each other's podcasts, and it's funny as fuck. Like, these guys are hilarious.
They are.
They're so funny. I wish my job was just to sit here and shoot the shit and just say whatever I wanted and be like, the more outrageous, the better, and the more popular I'll probably get. But
you are very outrageous. You're a little conservative on the potty. I'm just kidding.
True. True. I'm not. No, I'm not ever conservative. I'm pretty liberal in most of my views.
Same.
Speaking of, we have to play that TikTok video. We have to play it.
Okay, wait.
Okay, I'll find it.
Wait, no, listen.
You find it.
I can pull it up for you. But have you ever heard of a dog whistle before that?
No.
Like, what that meant?
No. Did you look it up?
It basically is a term for terms that are understood by the vast majority of groups as something that's not offensive, that's not threatening or anything, but one group knows that this term actually means something different. Like, it has a different hidden secret meaning. Okay, like, so a coded meaning.
Yeah, figuratively, a dog whistle is a coded message communicated through words or phrases commonly understood by a particular group of people, not by others.
Yeah. Okay,
so the context on this word, the dog whistle, is a TikTok video where there's this very flamboyant guy, bleached hair, sort of, and he's talking about...
It doesn't even matter.
What doesn't?
That stuff, because that's not outrageous to me, you know? But this TikTok was so outrageous to me, and I had to...
No, I'm just describing the TikTok. Yeah, pull it up so I can play it. Okay, 1 second, folks.
Sorry, I gotta take it off the charge.
1 second. Just play it. Just pull it up.
And it's no hate to this guy. I just
no, not at all. It's what he's saying.
This stuff is too outrageous. Like, I feel like a lot of my views socially, maybe this sounds super stupid and like I'm 23 years old, but I feel like I don't really give a fuck what people are doing for the most part, but this is outrageous to me. I'm serious. Like, I don't get it. Oh, I have to find it.
Okay, here it is.
On TikTok that is really, really disturbing, and it seems like nobody is talking about it, but I've only recently learned what it means, and I want to share with you guys so you can be on the lookout, because it's very dark and sinister. And that's the term well. I have been seeing this term being used across so many different videos for so long, to the point that I've been seeing hundreds, maybe even thousands of people commenting this term. And when I first saw it, I didn't really think anything of it. I figured I just didn't know exactly what they meant. It is a commonly used phrase, so I didn't really think much of it until I started to notice that any type of content I would see that primarily depicts a black person in a negative light, or even has the proximity to depicting a black person negatively, or say a gay person or trans person negatively, that when I would go to the comment section, this term well would be what I would see the entire time I'm scrolling, like hundreds and hundreds of comments of this term being used. And that's when I started to question, like, okay, what exactly does this mean? What are people referring to when they say this? Come to find out, it is a dog whistle. And if you don't know what a dog whistle is, it's essentially like a secret code that extremists who have, say, racially negative biases, people who are prejudiced, homophobic, transphobic, it's secret codes that they will use to communicate their biases to other people who think the same way, but use these kind of masked terms that the rest of us would not be able to understand. It's a very simple...
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm done. What do we think of this? What do you think of the term?
BFFR. Be fucking for real right now.
Be fucking for real.
I kept listening to his TikTok. It goes on a little bit longer, like literally 30 more seconds, and I thought he was gonna be like, I thought there was gonna be a point to his message,
or
and
like
I just never really got it.
Or like I'm just kidding.
Or yeah, like satire.
Yeah, like satire, because you're listening to it, and he starts with how it's something so dark and sinister. It's so dark and sinister. No, that's why I was like, is there
actually a deeper meaning?
Yeah, tell me more. And then you listen, and he's like, something that I've been noticing on videos where they are depicting a black individual in a negative light,
or potentially
a video that is in the proximity of showing a black or colored or bi or gay or trans person in a bad light, that there's comments of well under all of it, and hundreds or thousands of comments is what he's saying. But first off, before we get into this, I want to address the fact that he said a video in the proximity of showing a person of color or whatever in a negative light. Like, what does that even mean?
This is straight up what gives people anxiety. Like, I don't know, like, what is allowed to be, like, okay, I don't mean to be, like, that stupid, but, like, I just don't know, like, what people are going to be offended about nowadays. It's crazy. Like, that is insane. I've never said well with any intent other than just being like, well, look at the cat.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Yeah.
Well, the thing
That's
that
so
I'm concerned with is what is the proximity?
It's whatever they decide to be offended about.
Yeah, so we're just going to let these influencers like just determine what society is able to do.
I just don't see the real issue.
Proximity?
I don't see the real issue. I've never seen the comment section well, and I spend a lot of time on TikTok.
It's also interesting that for people who are so anti-racism and anti-judging people, like the first thing that he says is a video about a black person. Uh-huh. Why does the fact that he's like necessarily black matter? I know in that he's trying to give context about it, but like every video or every issue is a black person or a gay person. Like, why are they not just a person?
Because I think that's what people mean when they're like so fixated on labeling things, like putting a label on who they are and not like what they do and what they stand for.
Well, it's just a big issue and it's going to continue to cause more issues because instead of being like equality through not making anybody special, we're trying to make certain groups of people more special than other people in society, and it's resulting in more racism, more judging, more singling out.
It's like I'm judging you now for making such a freaking ridiculous video. Like, it doesn't... it's weird.
You're grasping for strings. Like, you're trying to find anything, to have a problem with anything in the name of social justice, and we have issues. This country has issues. Everybody has issues.
Yeah.
But we don't need to just continually just single out and be like, oh, you're a black person. Oh, you're a white person. Oh, you're an Asian person. We're all just people.
And by definition, dog whistle, most people aren't going to see the term well, and think that has anything to do with race, anything to do with being derogatory, anything to do...
you know what I think it is that I think, like, anytime, whenever you first showed me this and told me about this, my first thought was, like, what do I associate that term with? Do I associate it with racism or anything too?
Same thing.
But no, what I associate it with is like my grandparents like saying well to me, like, hey, well, what are you guys up to?
Yeah,
like people saying it in a joking manner. Yeah. But you know who in my mind is saying it? Who? An older white person. Oh. So they're changing the things that we say into being racist ideas. Is like that. I think that's sorry. I don't think that's exactly what's happening. I think that's
bizarre.
An interesting thought that I had where I'm like, this is particularly maybe a more white thing to say. The comment, well, like that phrase, at least in Missouri, like.
Okay, but here's the thing: is it an actual issue? Because if most people don't take the term well as anything bad, and they have like a positive connotation around it or a lighthearted connotation about it, then like why bring such an attention to a non-issue? Then it's like, is every phrase somehow a bad phrase? It's so weird. It's like,
and he's also linking it to extremists.
Yeah, and he was like, it's dark and sinister.
Extremists?
I genuinely don't get how it's dark and sinister. I mean, if people are stupid enough to be like, hey buddy, when I say well, it actually means something really effed up to his friend, and it's two freaking people, who gives a shit? It's like a safe word. Like, every time I see someone out in public that looks like this, I'm gonna say pineapple. Okay, good for you. Should we all stop using the word pineapple?
It doesn't change the fact of what you're saying either. You're still saying something messed up. So like,
see, okay, something I've noticed recently, you've got me on a comedy kick. I've been telling everyone about Kill Tony, and I just love comedy so much because they can say the most out-of-pocket things, and it's a joke, and it's so refreshing. It's like, no one there thinks you're being serious, and it's a bonding thing. Like, it's funny. If you can't laugh at yourself or laugh at other people.
I know, like guys, I'm doing a podcast. Me, out of all people, doing a podcast. Like, take me as a joke. Yeah. I take myself as a joke.
It's funny.
A lot of the stuff that I say is just out of pocket stuff that I feel like this is a good way for me to express myself and just be creative. Do whatever you have to do. Yeah. Speaking of creativity, sorry to take it such a fast, different direction, but I just don't even want to waste more time on that.
It was just weird. There's something I noticed.
Words, well. I've now said it 6 times probably. So
now
like, congrats, you spread the word more.
Yeah, for the rest of my life, I feel like every time I say that, I'm gonna feel like guilty or like just awkward about it.
That's just crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy because it's not coming from a bad place.
Yeah,
I looked up. I've never heard that come from a bad place.
So other examples of dog whistles would be bossy, inner cities, and welfare queen. And apparently Trump used all of them.
What a dog.
God, what
Trump
an idiot.
Is a dog. I love that.
Let's see if he ever said well.
He's just out of pocket. He is a comedian. Trump is a comedian. He was willing to say whatever will get him on the front page of whatever. He's a businessman. No publicity is bad publicity for him. It's so funny. At the least, you have to say it's entertaining. At the least. It's just like, this guy, he said what? He's our president?
I know. It's kind of funny.
It's like, and then just to watch people squirm. And it's like, sometimes, for example, whenever COVID came out and Trump said, I heard like drinking bleach for COVID is also pretty effective at killing the virus.
Like, it's a joke.
And then the news media was like, 4 people reportedly have drank bleach and are seriously injured from listening to President Trump. Like, you can't take a freaking joke.
And do you know why? When you get a McDonald's coffee and it says, warning, this is hot, it's because someone fucking got McDonald's coffee, spilled it on themselves, and then fucking sued McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because people are so idiotic and they want to blame everyone else for being idiots.
Take a little responsibility.
Take some responsibility
for that. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's so funny. So funny. Did you okay, let's see. We got a lot of stuff. I wanted to go in. I wanted to address our ins and outs. Jamie had this good idea of doing this thing on the podcast where we do sort of like a weekly update, self-improvement update where we do these things are in, these things are out, or just styles of the season, whatever, to address them. So let's go right into it. I'll let you go for the first one.
Okay, this one's just a silly one. Okay, but for the last couple of seasons, I've predicted the color. I don't know.
The color of the season. Basically.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Call me a psychic. Because I predicted it when it was like the green. Everything was green. And then I was like, this past summer, it's going to be pink. And it was because of the Barbie movie. And this was before I knew the Barbie movie was coming out. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm lying. But it feels like I keep picking it. And I think for fall, it's going to be like a burgundy / reds. Not like a true red, but like burgundy.
So, what's your exact prediction? People are going to start putting it more in their homes, like wearing the color more. I would say like wearing it with style, like either like a sweatshirt or a belt, like accessories. Yeah, purse. like a little pop.
It's a good color. Pop. I feel like we're kind of getting back into like the true like muted tones, not so like bright.
Wait, what is like a muted tone?
Like,
you expect me to understand that?
True. Like that couch. Like, those are like, they give me like 90s vibes.
Okay, but explain it for the listeners. Because there's a lot of guys, there's probably more guys going to listen to this. What is a muted tone? Okay, and so how can they implement this into making their women happy?
Oh, I don't know. That's a great question. I just feel like we're going to get like, okay, it's so hard to explain. But you know denim, how there's a light wash and then there's like a dark wash and then there's a medium wash in between that. And the medium wash kind of feels nostalgic to me. Okay. Because I was born in 2000. And like growing up, my mom would wear like 90s stuff. And so I feel like she would wear like long denim skirts, like jean denim skirts, and then like a burgundy top, not like a bright pink top. Like I feel like that was really.
It's almost like a slight pop.
It's more like, it's a little bit more. That's what I mean by muted tones. Instead of wearing like a bright green active set or like a lilac purple something or other, it's going to be more of a traditional color, I guess you could say. Like navy blue, brown, burgundy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the burgundy is going to replace the hot pink.
I think
and like silver almost, and chrome. Like it's not going to be that so much.
Damn. You're making me feel like America's getting back to its roots.
I don't know, but I love it for some reason. I just like it.
I'm going to start getting patriotic.
My mom used to have these shoes. They were platform sandals, and every time she wore it for some reason, I was like, oh my god, she's dressing like a mom. This is so embarrassing, like irrationally embarrassed over my mom's shoes. But I think they're coming back. And I like them.
Enough color talk.
That's not
for me, personal.
No, you know what? Hey, wait. Since you just said enough color talk,
what a surprise! What a surprise! For me, my personal first one is more accountability on my wants versus needs. Right there. Maybe I just need to address that.
Rewind. Okay, color talk. Everyone, get your colors done. Get your color analysis done. I've been telling everyone.
She's talking about getting your.
Kate's literally gonna shoot me if I tell
She's talking about getting somebody to print out little pictures of colors, put them right next to your face, look at them, and say, "Oh, you look pretty in these colors."
It's pieces of fabric. They don't print anything.
It's called buying. What is that? Self verification or something.
Get back to me on that one. Everyone needs to do it. You are either a winter, a spring, a summer, or an autumn.
Validation, not verification.
Yes, it's.
What an idiot.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, personal for me. More accountability on my wants versus needs. Meaning, I need to eat better food. I need to take better supplements, do better workouts. Also, skincare for guys is a thing. I want to talk about that in just a second.
I'm proud of
and
you.
then outs. are kind of like my don't give a fuck attitude.
Ooh.
I kind of want that to sort of just disappear a little bit, or like disappear into the background at least. It's always good to not care about certain things, like to have the ability to not care about certain things, but I want to take myself more seriously. Also, that's a phase. That quote unquote my body equals invincible. I want that like mindset out. Like you need to take better care of yourself and just really like. That's what I want to do it through, though. I want to find foods that fit my diet. I want to get supplements. Like I've been doing this Alpha Brain, and I feel like it's actually improving my brain function. Takes the grogginess out, sort of.
It's real good.
And then workouts. As far as workouts, I'm sure this is a very common thing amongst a lot of men, but I've lost the motivation to go in and to actually grind in a workout and to have like some purpose to push through every single workout. It's hard whenever you get to a point where either your body's not where you want it to be, so it takes a while to get things going and to see the progress that you need to see. But then once you do, like, it motivates you and you start to see progress, and then that's something that can help you work out harder. But if you already have your body in a position that you want it to be in, it's like, what can I do now? Like, what I need something to drive me, whether it's a sport or a competition or a challenge. So if anybody has any ideas of cool things to do, like, I don't think I want to do the full-on running competitions. I don't think. Competition. Like, maybe if it was like a trail run / climb / like obstacle course almost.
I could see.
I think I could do that. Yeah. Like I remember watching Ninja Warrior and stuff as a kid, and that's like.
That was the coolest thing.
Yeah, if I ever find a gym that has like.
Ooh, I would definitely do that. I kind of feel that. Specifically with workouts, I feel like what's in for me for workouts is less weightlifting, because I would say primarily that's what I did with cardio, and like doing, instead of like 5 days of weightlifting, do like 2 or 3, and then on the other days do yoga. It's been feeling so good on the body. And I want to try Pilates.
That's important though too, is to not just do heavy weightlifting all the time.
It hurts.
Because you need to stretch first off, because you will get too stiff. Like if I don't stretch, I'll get knots all over my body, and your body starts to hurt because of it whenever it shouldn't. You should be feeling really good. And then also the yoga, for everybody out there, I'm serious, try to dive into like a mind-body connection, just get the feeling of who you really are, what your body really is, and I think yoga, it
really helps
weightlifting, that stuff together is very powerful.
It's very powerful to feel like you really know your body well, like, and just how you move, and
it's relaxing too. You need to sweat, you need to get your blood pumping.
The thing about yoga that I like too, I like it compared to weightlifting, because like with weightlifting it feels like every couple minutes I'm on my phone, like switching a song, texting people back, like not so in the moment. But with yoga, you're having an instructor, you don't want to be rude, you don't want to be on your phone, and like you're literally kind of forced to just sit there with your thoughts and process some things, and by the end it feels so good.
It does. The one time I went with you, we went, and I was like, okay, I was down for it before we got here.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to realize this is going to take a full hour. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be stuck in a room. It's going to be quiet. I'm probably not going to be doing things that I want to necessarily be doing specifically in terms of stretching out my body. But that's kind of the whole point of it, is to really like go in and surrender that amount of time, and just to focus on that task.
It's self-care.
If you put your phone down and there's nothing else that matters in that yoga session besides you, the instructors, whoever you're with, and just relaxing.
It's so great.
And I really encourage kind of anybody to do it. I wish it was more of I wish you could go into a class and it would be more of like, there'd be some more boy-centered things, or like guy-centered, because yoga is primarily seen as like a more girlish or hippie-ish or whatever type thing, but there's some serious benefits to it.
Oh, it's great. I mean, you're practicing breath work, like it was really helping me when I was when I breathed weightlifting. I'm like, okay, like I should be inhaling right now, I should be exhaling right now, and I got that from yoga. It was a good reminder how much breath like can help you just with your mental health, and then when you're working out, it can help you push a lot more weight.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's crazy.
If you're really focusing on, okay, that's something good for anybody, but also beginners in weightlifting and working out and stuff. Like, if you feel out of breath and you feel tired when you're doing lifts, really focus on taking a deep breath in as you're pulling the weight down. Like if you're doing chest press, for example, and you have your arms above you and you're coming down, really suck that breath in and then push out.
Yeah.
Push it out, because you can get in a rhythm in every exercise if you work on your breath where it just makes it makes everything easier, and it sort of puts your mind into a trance.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does, because, you know, like with breath work, it can make you feel like euphoric. It can make you feel like you've done drugs or you're like a little tipsy or something. Like it's so good. I think a lot of us don't breathe. Like when I'm in a yoga class and she's kind of has us in like a hard stretchy position or something, I'm like really tense because I'm trying to hold it, and it's hard. You have to balance, you have to be strong, you have to do all the things. Right. And then I hear her and she's like, breathe, and I'm like, oh my god, I wasn't even breathing. Like it's crazy, and it feels so good.
Well, you're so focused on pushing that weight, and or just whatever. You're so focused on so many other things besides the actual task at hand. Mm-hmm. You're so focused on looking at yourself in the mirror, how your body's positioned. Even, am I doing this exercise in front of people that makes me feel awkward? Yeah. Like there's so many of these other things going on. Your music, is your volume just right? Yeah. Everything. And then you're completely forgetting while you're doing the actual lift to focus on what you're doing, how you're moving your muscles.
The mind to muscle connection.
Yeah, everything. And that's, I guess, the benefit of what yoga can give you that you can implement into weightlifting is the ability to focus on that one task at hand, and that one task is holding your hands on whatever weight you're moving, and moving your muscles in the way that they need to be moved, and really focusing on your breath, and just that, you know. And also that's if you can do that, it sounds like it's a lot to be able to just do that, but when you do that, that's where you actually get the therapeutic benefits of it all, because all of your other thoughts of the day go out the door.
Yes, and that's
every single one.
Back to when you were like, you want to find like a good end game, basically, or like reason
like
why you're
something
working
to work
out.
for. Yeah,
I would say like I'm to the point where I've been weightlifting for a long time, where I can definitely see how my physical appearance has changed, but like I notice when I don't work out, like the weeks I don't work out as much, my mental health, it like literally
it's in the gutter,
sucks. It sucks. So like just for my mental clarity, it's so nice to get in and intentionally move. Yeah. I would say I don't really train as hard as I used to, but just going and moving intentionally is so good.
I will tell you too, there's times where I will not want to work out at all, and I force myself either out of just willpower or just habit. Like I need to do it, and I've been working out for long enough, consistently enough to where it's kind of established as a habit in my own head, and I start to feel bad if I don't work out. So there's been so many workouts through the past, my entire life, that I've just wanted to avoid so bad. No, I don't want to walk in there like I'm dead tired. Right. I'm exhausted. I don't feel good today. I don't look good. I don't have on the right shoes. I don't have my AirPods for music or anything. But once you get in there as a guy and you start throwing around weight and you start moving and stuff, like there's something about it. Sometimes I'm grabbing a weight and I just want to throw it across the room. Like it gets your testosterone going. It gets your blood pumping. If you're sitting in a chair all day, your blood's just going to be statically moving. It's not going to be moving very fast. And then you go and you work out, and it does something where it just clears out your whole body and gets you going. It's like what you should do every morning, honestly, to get me going. That's what I should do, but it's just hard.
It's hard to find time. So that's why I feel like even if you walk for 10, 20 minutes in the morning around your neighborhood.
I will say this, you have to break a sweat. I think the worst part about a workout is breaking a sweat, and then once you do, I think that's where I feel the most benefits.
Well, yeah.
Because then finally my heart has had to, like, that's where it hurts. Right before you break a sweat is where it really hurts in a run or something. Yeah, true. And then finally everything just gets caught up because your body's getting shocked, and then it finally
get past that growing, like you push through the barrier, then it does. It's like a release. I do agree.
Yeah, then you feel like you can work out for 3 hours or
for sure.
Whatever.
I would do, like, if you are someone who's trying to get into working out, do all the fun stuff. Get like a cute outfit, get the best shoes, make some pre-workout.
You're a big time consumer.
I am.
Yeah.
Capitalism
Keeps the world going, baby.
No, but make it fun. It is fun.
Yeah.
It's self-care.
Yeah. Okay. I love this talk, and we'll talk more weightlifting in another episode, but capitalism made me think about this because China is apparently banning iPhones now. Yeah. Which I think is interesting because there's a backstory to that. During the pandemic, there's a backstory. During the pandemic, a lot of Chinese people were starting to protest against the lockdowns there because they were literally being locked in their buildings, like fences being put up so that they could not come out at all because of the COVID lockdowns and restrictions in China.
Damn.
Okay, and so iPhone. Apparently, during these protests, I'll give you even more backstory. They would have these protests. Chinese people, prior to the protests, would meet up with signs, everything. They would be screaming their chants and slogans, and they would share data on where the next protest would be by Apple SharePlay or whatever. What's that called? AirDrop?
Yeah.
AirDrop. They use AirDrop because the Chinese government can access all of their phones to see their iMessages and messages on their phone, but they can't see what people are airdropping. Okay? So Apple, in response to this, after apparently colluding with the Chinese government and talking to them, decides that they're going to disable the airdrop feature on all of the Chinese citizens' phones, iPhones.
The real narcs.
Yeah, Apple. So that they can, the idea is that so that Apple can continue to sell iPhones over there.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're in cahoots with the government. They have to do what they say, or else the government will cut off supply of iPhones, allowing them to sell iPhones. And what's funny about all this is that China is banning iPhones now after Apple decided to make a bad move and support and agree with the Chinese government in the first place by getting rid of AirDrop. And it just goes to show that if you mess around with communists, what do you expect? They don't care about iPhones being sold in China. They only care about complete control. That's all they want. Yep. So if you're not agreeing to do whatever they say, then this is going to happen. You're going to get all of your iPhones banned from China, and you're not going to be able to be in that market. But you shouldn't be in that market in the first place. You shouldn't be supporting the Chinese government. And as soon as they ask you to get rid of AirDrop on your phone as an American company who's supposed to support freedom across the world everywhere, you should say, no, screw you guys. We're keeping that feature, and we're not letting you have access. We don't care. You got to be hard. You got to match the energy. If China's coming out with you with threats, then you need to stand your ground for freedom. If you're an American company, Apple's the biggest company in the world, I believe.
I know. So when you first said that, I was like, aren't most iPhones made in China?
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and sure as shit. So that's probably why they're trying to accommodate to them, because that's where they're distributing out of.
Yeah, it's their manufacturing.
It's going to be the cheapest.
How many people live in China? Like a billion or something?
Probably a ton.
I think it's like 1 billion. Or 500 million. I don't know. It's something crazy.
Whenever I hear stuff like this, population. I don't really believe it. Every time they're like, TikTok's gonna get bought and shut down. I never believe it. When they say stuff like this, the China government isn't going to allow their citizens iPhones, whatever. I don't believe it. It just never happens. It's always just a clickbait.
That's the
1.4 billion.
Yeah, 1.4 billion people. So that's a ton of money.
It was kind of on a plateau. It looks like it's on a plateau.
Yeah.
But
it's messed up, man. I don't like how these American companies are, first off, manufacturing in foreign countries, and just there's literal nets. Joe Rogan has talked about this on his podcast. At some of the iPhone factories, there's literal nets that prevent people from jumping off the building to commit suicide at the factories because it was such a problem. What? It was such a problem.
At the factories?
At the factories. That's how miserable these people's lives are.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't like that.
And this is what American money is supporting too.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, Apple was also supporting the communists in silencing speech. So it's like, I feel bad for American business across the world and everything, but I don't feel bad that China's acting this way to Apple right now. Like,
I feel like it's hard.
You're in with dirty people.
When you have an American business to not have your distributors outside of the U.S. because it's like it's going to be so much. It's going to be cheaper for your customers by a lot. Sorry, you know, and it's going to be you're going to be able to grow your business more. So it's hard. Like it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is.
Either charge your customers more, which I know there's people who are like, oh, I'm willing to pay more for an American tag in my clothes, but it's like, kind of. But if it's like $40 more, like 40% more, like at some point, it's like.
I think that's fine, and like I agree. I think that bringing factories back here and everything would be great. It would be extremely expensive, apparently, from what I understand. I'm not an expert, but I think there's going to be a point where we have to realize, like, do we want to support American citizens and their jobs, and do we want, like, our neighbors to be wealthy and have good lives? Do we want to be wealthy and have good lives? Do we want the best for America?
Yeah. And
does that mean that we also want iPhones built in America that there's just not that, like, tarnish on? It's like this phone wasn't at the expense of somebody's life or like misery.
That's so true.
And is that worth paying for? Yeah, absolutely. But you're gonna have to probably give up something else for it. Like maybe you don't get an extra shirt or something. You know, like you can readjust the budget, but I think it's worth it to have better things, less better. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity.
That's the same.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's,
Yeah, which I think this is a perfect stopping point because we want quality over quantity on this podcast as well. So thank you for sitting here and talking with me. I enjoyed it. Always do. Everybody, this might be released on a completely new podcast show. Who knows? I may not post this to Gen Z Diaries.
Oh.
I may not. We may start something new. I don't know. We'll see. But whenever you hear it, you'll know the answer to that question.
Potentially Gen Z out, something else in.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to me not really liking the name anymore, and it was a good start.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a good start. It was a good way to break the nerves and the edge off of all this podcasting stuff. And even this episode, I felt like it was really good, but
if you don't
obviously just need
yourself.
to haven't podcasted in a while. Need to knock the dust off, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So see ya, everybody. Have a good day, night, weekend, year, whatever.
Yep.
Enjoy it.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.